Hey, you guys, I'm Natasha Harrell with Johnson Realty. I wanted to talk to you about closing cost real quick. If you ever heard of that, you can buy a house with zero down, but there's always closing costs associated, like zero down payment. But there's closing costs associated with every home purchase, whether you're selling a house or whether you're buying a house. So the closing costs for a buyer, we recommend budgeting around 3 to 4% of the purchase price. And that's here in the East Texas area. In the area, if you're not in East Texas, it might be slightly different. But let's say you're wanting to purchase $100,000 house, you would budget about $3,000 to $4,000 for closing costs. Now, what are closing costs? Because you got to pay them. In a buyer's market, which means that buyers have the upper hand because there might be too much inventory on the market and sellers want to sell. Sellers might be willing to help you with your closing costs, which means you can ask them to pay a portion. It is at the end of August of 2021 with this video. We are not technically in a buyer's market yet. So that means that if you want to purchase a home, you have to have cash on hand to close on top of your down payment. What are some buyer's closing costs? And I can read them to you from our TREC promulgated contract real quick, but basically it's anybody that had their hands on this loan, the paperwork. People that do paperwork got to be paid. So for a buyer, if you have an appraisal, because your lender is going to require an appraisal, the appraiser has to be paid. You might have to have a new survey. You have to pay the property taxes from once you get it to the end of the year. The taxes will be prorated. Recording fees, document prep fees, property insurance. If a lender is lending you money, they're going to require you to insure that property. So normally a year's worth of insurance is going to be tacked onto your closing costs as well. So it's all those the big fees or the appraisal survey, taxes and insurance, and then your lender fees too, because your lender has to get paid in order to do all this loan document preparation and to pay the underwriters that underwrite the loan, all this jazz. So what our contract says for let's see, buyers closing fees. And it's a bit of a laundry list because buyers tend to pay more in fees, especially if they are using a lender, because that's where a lot of the fees come from. If you're buying a cash property, there's not going to be appraisal fees or lender fees, So see, expenses payable by buyer. Appraisal fees, loan application fees, origination charges, credit reports, preparation of loan docs, interest on the notes from date of disbursement to 1 month prior to the dates of first monthly payments, recording fees, copies of easements and restrictions, loan title policy with endorsements required by lender. And the title policy is negotiable as well. So sometimes the seller will pay that for you. Let's see, 1/2 of all escrow fees. You guys split it down the middle, buyer and seller generally, to the title company. All prepaid items, including required premiums for flood and hazard insurance, reserve deposits for insurance, ad valorem taxes, and special governmental assessments. Final compliance inspection, courier fee, repair inspection, underwriter fee, wire transfer fee, expenses incident to any loan, private mortgage insurance premium, which is PMI if you put down less than 20% for a conventional, VA loan funding fee, or FHA mortgage insurance premium, which is a mortgage insurance premium you'll pay for the life of an FHA loan, as required by lender, and other expenses payable by buyer under this contract. So everybody has to get paid in the process of you purchasing a home. So if you do get approved for 100% financing, which means you don't have to have a down payment, you still have to have cash on hand to close. Now, that cash could possibly come from the seller, meaning that they would pay a portion out of their proceeds for you, but it just depends on the market you're in. Now, as for a seller, you still have closing costs as a seller too, and that normally will come out of the proceeds of the sale of your home. So we don't have as much documentation fees and stuff for sellers because you don't have a lender, but the seller is generally the person that pays the title insurance policy as well as the commission for the sale. So, and that's negotiable by each broker. But what our contract says for seller's settlement expenses is releases of existing liens, including prepayment penalties and recording fees, release of seller's loan liability, tax statements or certificates, preparation of deed, 1/2 of escrow, and other expenses payable by seller under the contract. So you do still have to have cash to close. That's your closing cost. And sometimes those can be gifted, but there are stipulations on that as well. So if you have any questions, you can give me a call or text me at 903-241-8094 or email me at natashaharoldrealtor@gmail.com. If I'm up, I will answer you back. Peace out, homies.